Imagine you're on a first date with a guy that you have been talking to for about 3 weeks that you met online. You decide to meet in a nice public place that will be fun but also allow for good conversation. So you decide Disneyland will be a good place. He agreed that it would be fun. You meet and you hug and you're enjoying your conversation just as you had all the times before. And you're really excited that it's going to be a great night. You go on your first ride, which is slow moving and dark, at which point he decides to take advantage of the situation and kiss you for the first time. Some of you might think, okay, what's the problem with this? But some of you might say, okay, this is a little fast, but I guess it's okay since we have talked quite a bit and I am enjoying his company. But then he gets really bold. He says, I love you. What do you even do with that? Would you be okay with it? Considering this is your first live interaction with this person, would it freak you right out? Would you think, this is what I get for online dating, it never works? Online dating used to have a negative stigma, but it has grown in popularity in recent years. In the past, a lot of people have had the mentality that meeting online was for the socially inept, the people who couldn't get a date the normal way, or in other words, from going out and being social. I know this because I've had many people approach me this way. Really? I'm surprised you have to be online. You're such a social person. What a lot of people who say this don't know about me is that I'm extremely busy. I have 2 kids. I have a full-time job. I'm also a full-time student. On top of that, I have 2 callings at a church. I also eat and sleep. Do the math on the time all of that takes, and we're at an average of about negative 10 hours a week I have to be social. People just think that I'm social because on the very rare occasion that I do get out, it becomes painfully obvious that I have been starved of human interaction, and I will talk to anybody, even the people that I don't like talking to. But I'm not the only one in this situation. Believe it or not, there are many people who have busier lives than mine, and this is why online dating becomes a good thing. But let's take a few minutes and look at the scenario that I presented in the beginning, and other reasons why online dating may be less than desirable. Yes, that situation really did happen to me about a month ago. And it can happen for a few reasons. One is because us divorced folk remember what it's like to have companionship. And even if that companionship wasn't great, we crave it. Sometimes we latch onto the first remotely good thing that comes our way before we really explore it in real life. That's right, I said real life. No matter how long you talk to somebody, even over video chat, it cannot have the same effect as being in person. Real life is a necessity. Another reason to rush a relationship is because even talking on the phone can reveal quite a bit about how 2 people get along. It can be really easy to form an emotional attachment without ever meeting in person. In an LDS Living article by Brianna Stewart, she gives a lot of good tips for dating online. She says about the scenario, just because you're meeting people online who are looking for marriage, don't go picking out the wedding china. Another fellow online dater that Stewart quotes throughout her article said, a lot of people put too much pressure on these relationships before they've met in person, and it creates all kinds of expectations that are impossible to live up to. In my situation, I ended contact with Guy the same night that the date ended. The pressure was just too much for me and I didn't want to deal with it. This is not the only bothersome thing about online dating though. Dating in general can be difficult to deal with. Juliet Spira, an online dating expert and blogger, wrote an article for Huffington Post which compares the pros and cons for online dating. A couple of the cons she lists are, first, that people lie about their age, weight, height, income, and marital status. Yeah, guess what, Guy? I can tell by the one picture you posted with just your face and double chin that you are not athletic and toned. Nice try, though. Another one that she mentions is that many singles limit their search criteria to height, zip code, or income, and can miss out on the opportunity to meet a compatible match. I know I am for sure guilty of this. I have overlooked probably good potential matches, and I'm pretty sure that I've been overlooked for the same reasons. Perhaps, however, the biggest problem with online dating is the safety factor. People have been victims of all kinds of malicious behavior due to meeting somebody online. This includes but is not limited to theft, stalking, rape, and even murder. There are very good ways to stay safe though. Eric Ravenscraft penned a really good article on lifehacker.com about this exact thing. He gives 3 points of advice when meeting somebody online. First, he says to carefully and critically examine him or her, and second, to plan your entire encounter. Tell people where you are, who you are with, meet in a public place. Do not get into the car with anyone you're not sure you can trust. And do not give out any information that will tell where you live or work. He also suggests to have an exit strategy. Now, with all this negative stuff about online dating on the table, is it possible that it can be a good thing? I say absolutely. I already mentioned it's beneficial for those of us who have very limited social time. But there are also very many success stories. My aunt happens to be one of them. Her husband left her after nearly 30 years of marriage, and after she took some time to recover emotionally, she decided to give online dating a go. She dated several men, mostly casual, just getting to know them, but there was one which was very therapeutic for her, and he was a great listener. They decided when they met in person that they really weren't compatible, but she knows that their friendship was something that was instrumental in her being able to trust men again. A short time after she broke off this relationship, she began dating the man who she now has been married to for 8 years. She told me that had she not ever tried online dating, that she would not have met these 2 guys who have changed her life so much for the better. I have had my own success stories as well. I've had a few good relationships with men that I met online, and although they weren't permanent, we've had a quality friendship and they're still part of my life. Which brings me to my next point, that even if you meet up with a person and it doesn't end up being a long-term match, it could be the start of a wonderful friendship and also a way to meet other people, maybe possibly even the one. It's all about networking. If you keep in mind the things it takes to make a relationship work and apply that to online relationships as well, if you remember the safety rules, which really should be applied to meeting anybody for the first time, and if you represent yourself with honesty, there is no reason why an online relationship can't be just as fulfilling and loving as meeting somebody in a traditional way. If you are single, you should consider online dating if you haven't already tried it. If you are not single, chances are that you know single people. You would be doing them a favor by supporting them if they wanted to try it. Please don't make them feel inadequate if they do. They need people to confide in and feeling comfortable telling you who they are with so that they can be safe. Being single is lonely at times and can be really hard. Why not broaden our horizons and take advantage of doors that are available to us where they weren't before? Because in the end, we only regret the chances we didn't take.